What's going on, guys, and welcome back. So I said this weekend we would get around to doing another video. Also, we did do our final, at least for now, Patreon giveaway. Yeah, we fortunately done doing Patreon for now. Like I said, videos are going to be more infrequent. Just lots of life things changing at the moment, but it's all good. We will still bring you guys updated content weekly, a few times a week, hopefully. Anyway, today, updated Hyper Aggro. That's it. Amber Amethyst. This deck already has a handful of tops on the format, so what are you kind of looking at this? We obviously got Lilo in the new set. You have your things, or not Lilo. We've had Lilo for a bit. We got the Daisy Duck in the new set with the 4 willpower on a 1 quester for 2, or sorry, a 1 drop for 2 quester. Very, very strong. You pair that up with Lilo and Maleficent, and you have 3 options for multi-questers that only cost 1 ink. That is a huge reason why this deck is just so good, and it is so fast. Then you have something like Befuddle that can come in on turn 2 and deal with your opponent's 1-drop, allowing you to put down another potential 1-drop, meaning you're going to be able to get up to 6 lore before your opponent even has a chance to respond. And at that point into turn 3, you have things like Baloo and Donald, where you can start dropping bodyguards to protect your characters, or even something like a Mim Snake to bounce your 1-drop and then just replay the 1-drop for your 3rd ink on the turn. One thing the deck can sometimes struggle with is resources, because you play so many low-cost characters. You spam them out early, and if you lose your board, you're kind of in trouble, right? So that's where cards such as Broom, Chernabog, Library, Dolores, these type of cards come into play now, because they offer you card replacement, they offer you draw, they offer ways to maintain resources as the game goes on. So that's kind of some of the things that the deck has going for itself. Again, you're trying to win very quickly, usually turn 5. Anything after turn 5, your chances of winning start to go down, because if you lose your board, it can be very difficult at times to get that board state back. Well, out of the tops, again, spreadsheet, all that good information, this is the deck core, if you will. Out of the recorded tops, this format, these are the minimums played in those lists. We see 4 Daisy, 4 Lilo, the 4 Maleficent. Again, that's pretty standard. 3 Chernabog. Most of the list did play 4, but 1 played 3. So again, this is the base core. Every one of those lists played these cards. And by top, I don't mean top 8 in a 20-person event. I would only take the top 2 out of a 20-person event. Spreadsheet has the little image with what counts, what does not, all that good information. 4 Brooms, and then into the 2-drops, it's 4 Piglet, especially with the 1-drops, makes a lot of sense, and 3 Madam Mim Snakes. As we go into our bodyguards, these ratios were kind of weird. Nobody played 3 and 2, but some played 4 and 2, some played 3 and 3, but at the end of the day, 3 Baloo were in every list, and at least 2 Donalds were. Me personally, I actually like Donald more than Baloo. Baloo guarantees you 2 lore, Donald guarantees you 1, but it's also inkable and has 2 strength, and I think that comes up and it matters. 2 Madam Mim Foxes, 4 Goats, because Goat for game or Goat bounce Goat is just a really good way to close out a game, a couple Befuddles, and then the new card Gathering, Knowledge and Wisdom. Essentially unequal 2 costs. You play it, you get 2 lore. This deck can run out of steam, like we've talked about, as the game goes on. But say if you can get all the way up to like 16, 17, 18 lore, all you have to do is top deck this card, top deck a Goat, and you can win very easily. So that's why these cards are so good in the deck. However, now let's go ahead and talk about an updated list. This is my current list. Again, taking that deck core, and then we just kind of finish filling it out. So in that 1-drop spot, I did bump Befuddle up to 4 because I really like that. You come out with Daisy, Lilo, or Maleficent on 1, and then on turn 2, you come back with another one plus Befuddle, bouncing their character. It's very, very strong. If you have to Chernabog or Broom, you have to, just to get the body on board. But at the end of the day, if you can hit 2 of those multi-questers and a Befuddle in your opening 2 turns on the play, you are in a very good spot. We did bump that Chernabog also up to 4 in our 1-drop spot. I got to 59 cards, so we put Snake up to 4. I was like kind of going through options. At 18 uninkables, I didn't want to go any higher. The deck coming in about $160 as well. Link for the deck is down in the description below. And then we get into turn 3. Like I said, if you can hit Daisy, Lilo, Maleficent on turn 1 and 2 with a Befuddle on 2 and then come back with a Bodyguard on 3, you're probably winning that game. That's a very specific hand, and your opponent might have what they need to answer you, but that's a really, really strong way to curve out. We also have Madame Mim Fox at 2, and I put 2 Svens in there. I like Sven because it comes down as a multi-quester, but it also readies one of your other characters, so it essentially frees you up to quest usually for 4 on your next turn, unless they have a form of removal, because they're not going to be able to challenge your readied characters more than likely. Dolores over Rabbit because, well, she draws right away if they have an exerted card, just like Rabbit, but it's also inkable and quests for 2. So for that reason, I do like Dolores in the deck. The 4 goats, 4 befuddles again. The bare necessities, because something like Grab Your Swords is the worst thing that can happen to this deck, and Steel Song is very, very prevalent. So I do have a couple of them in there just to kind of help. You don't have to play it on 2. A lot of the time I actually like it on, say, 4, because if you're not really developing your board a crazy amount on turns 1 and 2, they're probably not going to use like a swords on 2 or 3 even, because like taking out a Lilo, putting 2 damage on Daisy or something like that, it's not that impactful. They have to be really careful though, because by like turn 5 you're trying to win. So usually in that turn 4 range is when Grab Your Swords is truly just detrimental to you. So turn 3, 4, that's usually where bare necessities will come down. Again, the gathering wisdom and knowledge and wisdom as a late game card just to close out a game. And I like library too, because on turn 4 you can play it and move a character there in one turn, and then if you get hit by that removal, you at least get to draw a card and build that replacement. It also still gets you a lore, 8 willpower, pretty strong overall. Some other cards that weren't in the deck core, I was actually going to talk about them before the updated lists. That's how the format of the video was supposed to go, but you know, we just kind of do this off the top. So what were some other cards that saw play in those tops that we were looking at? On turn 1, you also had Pascal. It's just a card that can potentially gain evasive and be sneaky to get some lore in there for you. On turn 2, we saw Simba and Pinocchio Star Attraction. It's just a 2-cost bodyguard, and then also a 3-quester on 2 with no stipulations other than being uninkable in the form of Pinocchio as another strong option there. Then if we look into turn 3, actually turn 2 also sees Coda. The effect, not too important. It's 2 inkable, 2 strength, 1 will, quest for 2. You can't lose lore on your opponent's turn. I don't think there's really lose lore decks going around too popular now. So me personally, I would just play Pua because it also has 2 willpower instead of the 1. That's just me, I guess. I think I would probably play Pua over Coda, at least until we see more cards coming into the format that make you lose lore on your opponent's turn. Then I could see it. Amethyst Chromacon too, another card that saw a decent bit of play. Just something about giving your opponent cards. You're trying to win so quickly. I don't want my opponent to get resources and to pay that ink to play a card that doesn't get me any lore. I think it slows the deck down too much in a deck that really just wants to go too fast. So I'm not huge on Chromacon, but I get it because, again, you need resources, you need card draw, you need those types of things. On turn 3, Arthur Wizard's Apprentice. This card is another sneaky way, especially with that goat, to get 5 lore in a single turn. Uninkable, kind of slow, telegraphed. I'm not a huge fan, but again, I think it is a strong card. And then lastly, the card that we saw play that we did not talk about, Queen's Castle. It's Amethyst. It's Queen's Castle. It just makes sense. But anyway, guys, this is my updated Amber Amethyst list, kind of using the tops of the format to help build it, showing you guys what cards are being played and what the, again, base deck core, if you will, is. So let me know, do you like this type of format? Do you like this video? And should we continue doing deck profiles in this type of manner? Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, like, share, subscribe, comment down below.